All right, so we're diving deep today into something a lot of folks are interested in,
Oh,
improving English skills.
right.
And, we've gotten a ton of questions and comments about this.
Yeah, definitely a popular topic.
So
Yep.
I think this is going to be super useful.
I think so too.
Um, so you sent over some material that focuses on
Yeah.
this idea of practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, when I first saw that, I was like,
Right.
oh, come on. We all know practice makes perfect.
You think you've heard it all.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I dug into it.
Uh-huh.
And there are some really interesting points in here.
Absolutely. And
So I'm curious, what makes this approach to practice
yeah.
stand out?
Well, you're right. Practice makes perfect. We've all heard it a million times.
Right.
But this source does a really great job of explaining why that is.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually makes this really cool comparison.
Okay.
It likens language learning
Yeah.
to mastering any other skill,
All right.
like playing an instrument.
Or playing a sport or anything like that.
So, like, if you want to learn guitar,
Yeah.
you're not going to be like Jimi Hendrix overnight
Exactly.
because you picked up the instrument.
Exactly. You got to put in the time.
Yeah. I'd probably struggle with just a simple chord.
Right.
But I see your point. It's about
Yeah.
putting in the time and effort consistently.
It's about consistency and it's about focused practice.
Okay, so consistent focused practice.
Yeah.
But it's not just about like grammar drills, right?
It's not just about memorizing vocabulary or,
Right.
conjugation tables.
Yeah, it's about,
It's about being able to think in English.
that's what I was going to say, this idea of thinking in English.
right.
That's what really intrigued me because that
Yeah.
seems like a major key to fluency.
Absolutely.
So what are some practical ways that
Yeah.
someone can actually start doing that?
So one technique that I find really helpful
Okay.
is what's called self-talk.
So,
Yeah. And it might sound a little weird at first,
Yeah.
but basically you just narrate your day in English.
okay.
Even the really mundane everyday things,
Yeah.
like I'm making coffee now.
Great.
I think I'll add a little sugar today.
I see.
Things like that.
Okay.
And it forces your brain to actively engage with English
Got it.
instead of constantly translating back and forth.
And do you think that becomes
I think it does.
more natural over time?
Yeah, absolutely. The more you do it, the
Yeah.
less you even realize you're doing it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So the source also mentioned this pro tip section
Right.
about making English part of your routine.
Yeah.
What are some specific things that you would recommend?
Well, think about the things you already enjoy doing.
Okay.
Let's say you're a big podcast fan.
I am.
Okay, well, there are tons of amazing English podcasts out there.
Right.
Everything from news to comedy to true crime,
Yeah.
whatever you're into.
Huge variety.
And if you love movies, try switching the audio to English
Okay.
and maybe put the subtitles on in your native language.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just start small.
Mm-hmm.
Find something you actually enjoy and it won't feel like a chore.
I like that. Finding ways to make it part of your life.
Right, make it natural.
But speaking from experience,
Mm-hmm.
motivation can be a real struggle.
Oh, yeah.
What happens when you hit that plateau
Yeah.
where you just feel like giving up?
Well, first of all, it's important to remember that everyone hits those plateaus.
Yeah.
It's totally normal to feel frustrated sometimes.
Yeah.
But for me, what helps is remembering that
Yeah.
progress isn't always linear.
Right.
You're not going to see results every single day.
Yeah.
There are going to be ups and downs.
Mm.
The key is to focus on those small wins.
The small wins.
Yeah, like when you finally understand a new word
Hmm.
or you have a successful conversation in English
Oh, yeah.
or you can watch a TV show without the subtitles.
Yeah, those little moments.
Yeah, those are the things that keep you going. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So it's about celebrating those little victories along the way.
Absolutely. And those little victories, they add up.
Right.
The more you practice, the easier it gets.
Mhm.
And the more enjoyable the whole process becomes.
So to sum up,
Yeah.
the big takeaway here is
Consistent integrated practice.
right. Consistent integrated practice is
Yeah.
the real secret to mastering English.
I think so.
It's about making it part of your life,
Right.
celebrating those small wins,
Uh-huh.
and remembering that those small steps lead to big progress.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
to leave our listeners with something to think about,
Okay.
what is one small change
Yeah.
that someone can make today
That's a good question.
to incorporate more English into their life?
I would say think about one specific thing you can do.
All right. Yeah.
Maybe it's trying that self-talk technique
Mm-hmm.
or listening to an English podcast on your commute.
Even 5 or 10 minutes a day
Yeah.
can make a huge difference.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's about taking those small steps.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Of course, this was fun.
This was a great deep dive.
Yeah, it was.
I think this will be really helpful for a lot of people.
I hope so.
All right. That's it for today's deep dive.
Good.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.